Arrakis awaits as we return for part 3 of our Dune Awakening survival journey completely alone. Today we've got a few big tasks ahead of us. We're gathering vehicle parts and farming a ton of iron and carbon to break into the steel tier to eventually journey to the Rift, a blackened eastern valley where the sun does not shine on the riches within. However, something unexpected might throw a wrench in those plans. Let's go. Firstly, we're really low on Ecolab resources, so we're going to need to stock up, both to upgrade the sandbike in the future and to craft a buggy too. We'll firstly head to the Western Gap to tackle testing station 197, then come back and go around to reach station 10. Reaching the Western Station, we slash through the enemies at the entrance, and peering into the hole I spotted another one just begging to get grenaded. Then I realised it was a planetologist.
Oh, it's you! My erstwhile apprentice.
We picked up another quest from him for the advanced planetologist training and continued through the lab. A nearby corpse also had a contract that would net us a stillsuit variant, so we'll kill two birds with one stone. This particular ecolab has a pretty cool story and contains both Chome mercenaries and bandits that fight each other as much as they did myself. I worked my way through, found the Minimic films for Derek, and going even deeper, finished up the Chome contract by fighting an enemy bearing a flamethrower who went down, surprisingly, without much issue. We got the Kirab stillsuit override, which is kinda useless at the moment because, well, I'm already wearing a Kirab stillsuit, but we'll use it later. We entered the final room, grabbed our last loot, and then returned to Derek and handed in his quest for the advanced planetologist training, but we'd have to go south to get it, so we'll do that another time. Not too shabby on the vehicle parts, but we're going to need more. On the way home to drop off my loot, I spotted a pre-spice mass, meaning a spice blow would happen very soon. I headed home to get my compactor. Hopefully it doesn't blow when Oh. At this point, I'd be remiss not to mention that old Wormy Boy had kinda disappeared on my server, and others too. Apparently he'd been misbehaving and eating things he shouldn't. I'm not going to be exploiting this to gather like thousands and thousands of flower sand or anything like that. I don't think it's really in the spirit of the run, but I'm also not going to put off doing things because of it. It is what it is, and he'll probably be back tomorrow. I headed back to the spice mass and ended up sharing it with a guy living nearby, seeing as we arrived at the same time. In the end, I got 256 of that elusive spice sand. We can't do much with it yet, but our time will come. We rocked up to testing station 10, ready to hack and slash. However, I'd kind of forgotten one small detail. This ecolab is actually quite a bit harder than the western one. Enemies hit harder, have more health, and shields are plentiful. Though we are nicely warmed up from the last lab, caution is the name of the game here. I can't run in slashing up a storm because I'll get sent straight back to my base. End goal? Kill Inahilla at the end of the dungeon and leave with as many resources as possible. With Inahilla dead and the dungeon complete, I gotta be honest, that was the best one yet. Challenging but pretty fun. Left with some blueprints and a ton of vehicle components should be enough to get our first buggy going. On the way home, I ran across a shipwreck near my base. I decided to check it quickly and it was unlooted, so it was plunder time. I tried to do it as fast as possible, but it won't let me take the loot. Back at home, I looked through the loot and there was some stuff in there that I just couldn't use yet, so I've squirreled it away for later. Now, let's keep the progress going. With that goal in mind, we're going to need to jump up to the steel tier. This requires mixing water and iron ingots with carbon, an ore found north of my base. We're not quite ready to move up there just yet, but we will be soon. The plan is simple. One last iron Anyway, one last iron run to cook up as much as possible, then carbon in the north, bring it back, smelt it, craft a buggy, profit. I'm not going to make you sit through another iron mining montage though, so we'll jump ahead to the north. We've got a ton of iron back home, should end up with about 700 bars, which is good enough for a while, and now it's time to get the carbon. I'm also happy to report that old Vermy Wormy's back. It felt pretty wrong not having that worry of getting munched. I should also mention that it's closing in on weekly reset at the moment, and the Coriolis storm is brewing, creating this wind you're seeing now. Visibility in these conditions is kind of poor, but that shouldn't hamper us too much, hopefully. At the start of our farming journey in the Rift, I stumbled across the 5th trial of Arkle. This one focused on Shai-Hulud itself, with the trial mainly centred around platforming. At the end, we learn the recipe for the Thumper, a tool that might be very useful to us in the future. Now look, I'll be the first to say it. The Rift at night is pretty unsettling. Nevertheless, the topside is littered with ruined vehicles. If you need Holtzman actuators or armour plates, this is a great place to come. You know what it didn't have much of? Carbon. I headed northeast to Jabal Efrit al-Shark, skedaddled up the tallest mountain, and fired off a survey probe to clear the map. Moving over to this biome was definitely the vibe, there's tons of carbon here, so I spent about 20-30 minutes zipping around and mining up a storm. Speaking of storms, with less than an hour till reset, the Coriolis storm was picking up. Fierce winds whipped against my bike and static charged lightning zapped the sand in the distance. With visibility near zero, it was time to head back home, braving a few blind crossings between the rock islands to arrive back at base with 40 minutes until reset. The trip looks to have been a success, with one journey netting us almost 2,000 carbon. I set over 300 steel to cook and waited out the storm. With the storm clear and the wind settled, it's time for the final task of the day. Build a buggy with a mining laser and travel into the Rift to Wait a minute. Cobalt paste? Take note, ladies and gents, this is what happens if you don't plan ahead. We need Aerothite Crystal for Cobalt Paste, and we have a grand total of 12. I headed back to the Rift, but this time we're plunging deep into the ravine on the hunt for those elusive purple crystals. I'm going to be honest, farming these crystals is a bit of a pain. The lion's share of them are found in these Choma mineral extraction sites, which are usually also riddled with enemies, snipers included. That's not that bad, but the crystal nodes are at really strange angles. They're also pretty heavy and have kind of a low yield, but that won't be a problem when we get the buggy. The buggy's mining laser will massively increase yield, doesn't require the sweet spot system, and most importantly, I don't have to get out of the vehicle. It's a win-win all around for lazy players like me. On the upside, though our farming here is a bit slow, we do get some ray amps and calibrated servox, which we'll need later on, especially to upgrade the cutter ray. In the second extraction facility we hit the gold mine, a room full to the brim with aerothite crystal. Just one problem, enemies, and lots of them. Snipers, gunners and more, all in the room I need to get to. Well, time to get slashing. With the room enemy free, I arduously cleared as many aerothite nodes as I could. We got all but one and we've got a good amount of crystal, just need some tarot cards and incense and we can start doing palm readings in Arrakis. Anyway, whilst we're here, there's actually an Atreides quest just north, so we'll head up there and grab that. Just another step closer to the building set I'm after.
Someone's here. Shields on, revealed, shields up. Shield on.
Well, that ambush kinda went horribly for them. We grabbed a few more crystal nodes and then headed back to the anvil to find out what Anton knows. Turns out that the informant I'd been sent to meet for the Atreides quest may have been attacked himself, or maybe he'd deserted the cause. Not something I'd ever do. of course. I picked up another mission for next time and headed home to finish up for the day. Back home, I got crafting some cobalt paste and went to grab some water from the flowers, but found out my neighbour had built his base huge to cover 3 out of the 4 flower patches. If you live near flower patches, don't be like this guy. We're also making some quick changes to the base, mainly just so I could refit the front door into a pentashield for the buggy. The buggy itself is, unsurprisingly, pretty big, so we'll need the space. I built 2 new fabricators upstairs, a garment fabby to craft a new stillsuit, and a vehicle fab for, you guessed it, the buggy. With the buggy complete, we've just made a major upgrade and large-scale farming is now a lot easier. I also crafted myself a new stillsuit, which, I'll be honest, with the helmet, looks a little goofy. However, thankfully we did that contract earlier, as the Kirab stillsuit helmet override looks perfect with this set. Now that we have the buggy, I've got to thinking, maybe it's time we leave the Vermilius Gap behind. Next time, we'll be doing just that, constructing our next base in Ep.3, going bigger and better than ever before, and raising our stock in the Atreides, and visiting the social hubs to find the advanced skill trainers. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss episode 4 where we journey north, climb the ranks, and find new lands on Arrakis, completely solo. Thanks for watching, and a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. If you want to get the next episode and more videos early alongside wallpapers and other perks, check out the Patreon link in the description to support the channel directly. Take care, and I'll see you soon.